Hello, my name is Valeria and I'm running an estate agency specialized in property investment, property development and portfolio management. And I want to give you some tips on how to evaluate your applicant for the long-term rentals. So when you manage a portfolio or you have 2 or 3 apartments, you'll have to deal every couple of months or every day in our case with rental applications. And then when you post an advert for your long-term rental, you'll need to have a list prepared in advance in order to ask the right questions and evaluate your tenant as well to make sure you don't waste your time and his time as well. So normally we have like a set package of questions that the applicant has to answer online, and after we are satisfied with the answer, we will book the viewing. So question number 1 is, are you renting the apartment for yourself or somebody else? So this is a very important question because you need to know who is your applicant. So if it's the person that is inquiring, then that's great. If that person that is inquiring is looking for a member of the family or a friend or so on, they will need to give you information because you need to know who is your potential tenant. Now, question number 2 is, do you work or study? So this is like a tricky question. It's a sneaky way of finding out what are their finances, and actually this is the most important question for your tenancy application, because you have to make sure that they can afford to pay the rent. So as a result, they will need to work most of the cases. So it's a politically correct question that will not insult anyone, but in the same time you'll figure it out if that particular tenant can commit for your rent and will not struggle in the future. So do you work or study? So if they work after they do the application, you will ask for reference check, and normally we ask for a letter of employment or a letter from their HR director confirming what's their salary. And normally in England the salary has to be triple, like 3 times more than the rent. In Greece we do multiply by 2.8, and even sometimes we check if it's double, because the cost of living in Athens is less than in London, so it's okay if the salary is double. So this is like for the employers. If they study, then they will need to provide a letter of their student loan, for example, or if they don't have any source of income, then somebody will need to be their guarantors, and it's normally the parents or some relatives or their partner if they're married. So that will also be added into the reference check. So question number 3 is, when are you looking to move in? This is a very funny question because in my previous podcast I was explaining about the seasons for long-term rentals, and sometimes the person might want to rent your apartment, which is available now, in a month or 2. So you cannot keep the apartment empty for a month or 2. So you want to rent your apartment as soon as possible if it's empty. So it's very important to ask, when exactly are you looking to move in? And then the 4th question is, and for how long? How long are you looking to move in? Because some people, they need an apartment in 2 months and they want to stay only 3 months, where you want to rent this particular property for minimum 12 months. So that will straight away remove the applicant from your tenant desired list, because it doesn't match with your requirements. And the last question is, how many people will live in this apartment? This is a very important question, because if the apartment has a capacity of 2 and then you end up with 7 people, which it happened to us several times, then you might need to have the inconvenience on evicting them and having the stress and all these things. So I normally ask for how many people is the apartment for, and then I will need some information about the second or the third person, depends what's the capacity of your apartment. And of course, I will specify that in the tenancy agreement that the apartment will be rented to minimum 3 people or maximum 3 people, and so on. And then I also mentioned in the tenancy agreement, which is a different podcast for me to make it for you, is that if the tenant has guests which are staying longer than 2 weeks, they have to inform the landlord for health and safety reasons. Why? Because you need to know who is using the apartment and what is happening. This is one way of you keeping control and understanding that you know what's happening over there, and also it will save you inconveniences with maybe neighbors and so on. So question number 1, is the apartment for yourself or somebody else? Question number 2, do you work or study? Question number 3, when exactly are you looking to move in and for how long? Yes. And then the last one is, for how many people is the apartment for? And that will save you so much time on going up and down and opening the apartment to random people that doesn't much, they don't do a great much for your portfolio. And then you'll see once you send that template with all the information, it will make your life easier. I will add something else at the end of the podcast. It's very good if you have a video with a link of your apartment, so you can send it to the applicant so they can see it virtually first. And then if they're happy with the space, because some people might want a bigger space or upper floor or so on. So, you know, we normally send a video at the end of the questionnaire, and then it really helps us because we can filter the applications easier, and it makes us, save time and be more efficient. Thank you for watching it, and I'll see you soon.